All right, Andy, what did you think?
I thought your use of hand gestures were really good, but your feet were planted on the whole time, and it looked awkward. Your thesis kind of confused me with your topics, because your stories, they were interesting, but you seemed to go off on tangents, and it confused me because I wasn't sure what point you were trying to get at. And otherwise, it was an interesting topic and very controversial, very up to date. It's a topic widely discussed today, so good topic.
It's a topic widely discussed today in class. So the introduction to the topic is okay. You seem a little hesitant in the opening to just come out and say that the focus is on making adoptions more widely available to homosexuals, and I'm not sure if you're trying to kind of build suspense there, or if there's some other argument that's going to come up that talks about problems that people have doing adoptions. Now, once you get to the body of the speech and you've got a structure, it's clear that it's all primarily focused on homosexual adoption. I think you need more information about what the limitations are, what the restrictions are, what's preventing this from happening. You know, I need to know that homosexuals out there are trying to adopt and they're not allowed to, that there are state laws that are being imposed on them that restrict their access or limit the kinds of adoptions that they can do. It sounds at one point like you've got a story where a single adoption was encouraged instead of a couple adoption, and I thought, okay, so we're going to hear about some problem that came up along about that, and I didn't hear any problem about that. So I'm trying to figure out what's the problem. If a gay person can adopt and they have a gay partner, what's the issue? I mean, what's the problem? The kid's been adopted, the parents have their child. What restriction is there? And I think that there seems to be some presupposition here that there's a barrier, or that there's some restriction, or that people have attitudes that are preventing homosexuals from adopting. And I don't get a sense of that. I get more sense of the notion that there are people who have attitudes about homosexual adoption that they don't like, but I don't have any demonstration that those attitudes are having any impact on anybody. You go off on a couple of tangents about Huckabee and having people over for dinner, and then that one story that you talked about the single adoption, it sounded at first like it was a few months ago, and then it turned out that the girl is in college now, and now it's on television. I'm going, did this all happen in a week? What? You know, I couldn't quite figure out how that story was being put together. And I think that's the problem with a lot of the information. We got bits and pieces of information, but it hasn't been put together as a coherent story, and you're kind of bouncing around on the subject. And I think you need more coherence in where you're going with this. All right. Thank you.